Hey there guys, it's Misty here. So this is the video that I've been promising you for the last couple of weeks. I have 10 things I learned on my first 3 months doing keto. I wrote all this out because I was considering putting this as a blog post. Let me know in the description box down below. Why do I always say description box? Let me know in the comments down below. You can find links to social media in the description box. So I have Instagram and a Facebook page. So these are really in no particular order, and they're not meant to be offensive. This is, all about my personal journey. So if this didn't work out for you, or this isn't the same as you, that's okay. So number one is research. And again, these are in no particular order, but to me, this isn't a way of eating that you can just start overnight and without doing any kind of research or have any idea of what to expect or what you need to do, etc. And there is a ton of information out there, and you really have to do your best to kind of whittle through that. Find people who seem, it's just... I don't even know how to tell you how to do it. There are tons of us on, YouTube who make these types of videos, and, I'm just some fat girl on the internet. I don't want anybody to ever take my videos as a substitute for medical or nutritional advice. I do know that there is a lot of good information out there. I will try to remember to link some down below, Dr. Berg, Dr. Jason Fung, Jason Whitrock is really good. I know there are a few others. What's her name? Her last name is Vogel. Her first name just slipped my mind. All of those people are very well versed in keto and share a lot of great information. But the thing to remember is that it may not work for you in that particular way. There are also a lot, Michelle Rock, she's another one that's good. There are a lot of Facebook groups as well, but you really have to just kind of, again, do your research, because there are some Facebook groups I'm in and I'm like, have you lost your mind? And there are others I'm like, oh, this is really good information. I think anybody who's new would really benefit from this. But one thing to know is that information varies from group to group to group, and you just have to kind of take bits and pieces and see what's going to work for you. But this isn't, something where you can just wake up the next morning and start. I really think that you need to put some research into it. And you should do that anytime you're going to make a lifestyle change. Talk to your doctor about it, or, read an article or watch some YouTube videos, find, some books on Amazon, those kinds of things. So, again, I'm not an expert. I've only done this for 3 months. So, I have managed to get my blood sugars down, etc. But again, fat girl on the internet, not an expert. So the next one is macros matter for some people. So there are a lot of people who can be successful doing keto, lazy keto, where they're not measuring, they're not tracking, they're just basically trying to be as low carb as possible, etc. And I think that probably works for a lot of people. I know that it does. People say, oh, I'm lazy keto and I've lost, 75 pounds, 100 pounds. But I feel, or my opinion is, that there are some people who need to track their macros. And when I say macros, I mean protein, carbohydrates, and fat. So, sorry, I'm just kind of looking down on my notes. So the first group is type 2 diabetics. If you are a type 2 diabetic, I think it would serve you well to track your macros, at least in the beginning, at least in the first, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. If you don't want to go any further, that's cool. But you will notice that when you have moderate protein and you're low carb, you're going to see a huge difference in your blood sugar numbers. A couple of weeks ago, I was going to track that week and I didn't. See, I was tracking when I very first started and I got out of the habit of it, and it's really hard to go back. But I started noticing that my fasting blood sugars were starting to creep back up. Like it was 140 or 155. And I was like, the day it was 168, I was like, okay, what's going on? Because the carbohydrates from the day before weren't telling the same story. And I realized that I was eating too much protein, and I'm still eating too much protein. It's really hard to get my protein down. I am so sorry if you can hear those birds, but it's like they won't shut up. So I think it'll serve you well, especially if you find that your blood sugars aren't coming down the way that you think they should be, or the way that they should be based on the carbohydrates that you're eating. Try tracking your macros. Another group of people who I think would benefit from tracking are those people who overeat or who have overeaten. I have probably overeaten since I was in first or second grade. I I I don't know what a typical portion looks like or should look like, what it looks like on a plate, those kinds of things. So to me, measuring and tracking and seeing how much food I should be eating helps so much. And I think, for me, especially if I wasn't tracking, I would probably be eating way more food than I should be, because I know I do, because my protein's always so high. So like I said, I think there are some people who can get away doing lazy keto, but if you're not losing, or you're not, if you're not losing pounds, you're not losing inches, or you can't get your blood sugars down after a couple of weeks, because literally after 2 weeks, you should be, if you're under 20 carbs a day and it's been 2 weeks, your blood sugars should be getting pretty close to normal. It's just, they just should be. And if you're not, and you're not tracking protein, etc., it may be a good idea to start doing that. I use MyFitnessPal. You can follow me there if you want to, friend me, however that works. I know that there are other apps out there, and everybody has their own favorite. I don't mind MyFitnessPal. I have an iMac, so I have a plugin that shows me fiber, but I also know that I can subtract fiber from my carbohydrates to get my net. You may not want to do net carbs. You may just want to do charting carbs today. But I like to eat vegetables, and I've added in fruit. So I'm going with net carbs because I can't. So the next one is, everyone is a Google expert, meaning everyone is an expert. And it doesn't matter if you're on keto, or if you're doing Weight Watchers, or you're going low carb, or you're going vegan or vegetarian, or you're paleo or primal, it doesn't matter. Anytime anyone gets a whiff that you are trying to make changes to your lifestyle, they all of a sudden, everybody becomes an expert. And I think I see that a lot more because I am on YouTube, and I'm like, I have 2,000 subscribers, which, thank you very much for that. I cannot imagine these people who have hundreds of thousands of subscribers or millions of subscribers who get so many experts in the comment section of their videos. So if it's just a bunch of rubbish, I went ahead and deleted them, because it's like, I don't need somebody else to come onto my video and see that and it negatively affect them. I can take it. There's nothing you can call me that I haven't been called already in my life. But at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you, and trust in your process, and know that even though you're not doing it, just like Susie says, doesn't mean that you aren't making changes for your life. And that goes for like that stupid article about how coconut oil is bad for you. You have to realize that there is a lot of propaganda put out by the diet industry. The diet industry is $1 billion industry for a reason. I always see like, oh, you're going to cure your type 2 diabetes with diet. That's not how it works. Or, oh, you're fat, you're going to get type 2 diabetes. That's not how it works. So make sure that you're reading for yourself, doing that research like I mentioned. And, every once in a while you can take a look at what someone's like and like, oh, okay, I'm going to look that up. Oh, that makes sense, etc. And sometimes you're just going to have to go, okay, whatever. just whatever. Because there are people who are thin, who have heart disease or high cholesterol or high blood pressure. Thin doesn't equal healthy. You can have health at any size, and it's important to remember that. It's also important to remember that this is your own journey, and you are the only person who knows your body. You live in it 365, 24/7, and don't let anybody else tell you what you need to do. You can take what they say into consideration, absolutely. But at the end of the day, just because they can Google doesn't make them an expert. That leads me into the next one. Comparison is the thief of joy. That quote really resonates with me because when you are in Facebook groups, or when you are watching people on YouTube, or when you are getting comments from people who are like, you should have lost way more weight than that, or I'm on week 16 and I've lost 100 pounds, or I've done this for 3 months and I've lost 75 pounds, and I'm just like, what the hell? How is that even possible? And then I have to bring myself down to earth and realize that I'm diabetic. On top of that, I'm an insulin dependent diabetic. Insulin is a fat storing hormone. So every night I inject myself with the fat storing hormone. I think I'm doing pretty good to be down the 20 pounds that I'm down. Now, that's not going to give me any excuses for stopping my weight loss or stop trying to lose weight. I have other things that I want to do. But at the end of the day, I can't compare myself to anybody else because nobody else matters. Like with the last thing, their opinion doesn't matter. Nobody else's opinion, nobody else's journey is my journey, and I have to follow my own journey. So don't compare yourself to others. Don't get wrapped up in the numbers. Don't get wrapped up in the fact that there are some people who lose a tremendous amount of weight in a very short time, no matter if they're male, female, paleo, keto, Atkins, Weight Watchers, etc. There are people who are just going to lose weight really quickly, and that's okay. But there are those who lose 20, 30 pounds in a year, and that's okay. The fact of the matter is, if you were trying to make changes for your health or make those steps in the right direction, you're doing as much as you can do, and that's okay. It's okay. So don't compare yourself to others. Don't let comparing yourself to others steal your joy or steal your successes. I lost 20 pounds, and at first I was like, dang, that's only 20 pounds, and people are like, you've lost that many pounds in this many weeks, that's fantastic. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. But I get in the habit of comparing myself to other people, and people are really quick to tell me that I should be losing weight faster, or there's no reason you should be over 400 pounds and not losing weight faster, and all these other things. And I get that in my brain, and I finally just have to go, shut up, brain, shut up. We're gonna do this. The effort matters. The effort matters. If they are doing all that they need to do and they are losing their weight, good for them. I can celebrate their successes with them. If I'm doing all I can to do for me and I am succeeding, yes, I'm going to celebrate my successes too. So don't compare yourself to anybody else. This is your journey. Walk the miles in your own shoes and let everybody else just do what they're going to do. You guys tired of me yet? So the next one I have is eat that piece of sugar-free candy. So I mentioned when I very first started this way of eating that I was indulging every once in a while in diet soda, sugar-free candy, or those sugar-free bomb pops. And at the end of the day, there are going to be people who are like, that's not keto and you can't do it and blah, blah, blah. But again, If eating a sugar-free Reese's little tiny peanut butter cup prevents me from eating a packet or a king-size packet of Reese's Reese's regular peanut butter cups, I'm okay with that. If having a sugar-free snow cone at home prevents me from going down to Bahama Bucks down the road and getting, a regular sweetened snow cone, I'm okay with that. So it's okay. It's okay. If you don't want to, if that's too much temptation or it doesn't make you feel good, then don't do it. But everyone's like, you have to eat blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. You don't. You don't. You have to do what's best for you. So eat that piece of sugar-free candy. Watch your serving size or it will be a laxative. Drink that diet soda. Have that Splenda in your coffee or something like that. But don't feel like you have to just completely go without if it's not. At the end of the day, it's more important that you're trying and you're changing and you're doing stuff to make yourself better. If you have to indulge every once in a while in something that's going to keep you on plan, keep at it. This is the first time in probably my marriage that I have lasted longer than 8 weeks on a way of eating. In the past, I would do really, really good for 2 months and then I would get tired of it. I'd get tired of thinking about food. I'd get tired of thinking about what I could and couldn't eat. I would just get tired of all of it. And I would have a bad day, and that bad day would turn into weeks and weeks and weeks. I mean, I've mentioned before, I think on this channel, that Rob and I had lots of last meals because I was like, okay, I'm starting tomorrow. Let's go have fried chicken tonight because I'm not going to have it again. And it's a vicious cycle, and I'm trying to stop that. So, yesterday I had some sugar-free Reese's peanut butter cups, and I had them. And it was good. I've been eating some strawberries with some whipped cream. I had it. It was good. I really wanted cake or I really wanted watermelon, but this is keeping me from going, from giving in to those temptations because I have other temptations and that I also have to worry about. So eat that sugar-free candy and don't feel that, that you're done, that it's ruined everything, because it hasn't. Try to make it a once in a while thing. There are several people that I've watched on YouTube who have one piece of candy every single night. Again, whatever you need to do for you to keep yourself motivated and to keep yourself on plan, I say go for it. Number 6. No, number 8. Wait, number 6? Number 6. You don't have to bulletproof anything. You don't. I see that a lot of times where people are like, well, I don't like coffee, or I don't want, you don't have to add excess fat to your diet if you need to lose fat. So someone my size, I don't really have to add any excess fat to my diet because I want my body to burn my body fat, not necessarily my dietary fat. But if I were going to add extra fats, you can get that through, cooking vegetables in butter, eating guacamole, eating avocados, using full-fat sour cream, using full-fat mayonnaise, using olive oil, eating olives, eating, macadamia nuts. Those kinds of things. There are other ways that you can get your fat in besides putting fat into a coffee. Now, I will say that it tastes pretty dang good. When I was doing, because Bulletproof coffee should really be thought of like as a meal replacement, because it's, with that much fat and stuff, you're drinking it because you're not going to be eating it. But again, if you don't think of it that way, that's okay. But I think of it as a meal replacement. When I go through Starbucks in the morning and I get my Trenta iced coffee with heavy cream instead of milk, I put that down as a meal. That's my first meal of the day. I'm drinking that fat, that heavy cream, to help keep myself satiated until I eat. So you don't have to do it like that. Like I said, it's actually pretty good. I bought some cocoa butter wafers, and I was putting that, some collagen, stevia packets, and a little, like, even a teaspoon of like some heavy cream, blending it in my little magic bullet. It's really, really tasty, but you don't have to do that. There are other ways to get your fats in. If you like it that way, I say go right ahead, but I don't want you to feel like you have to. It's the same way with all the other, did I put that as a, no. It's the same with all the other like fancy keto recipes, like keto pancakes or, keto bread, or you don't like a cake or mug, 1 minute mug, 1 minute mug, the minute mug cake or bread or whatever. You don't have to do all that. You don't have to make oopsie rolls or cloud bread, or you don't have to do, the cauliflower crust. You don't have to do all those things. You can eat fresh vegetables and, a protein source and a fat source and be okay. If you enjoy those things, I say go for it. I can't stand the taste of cooked cauliflower, so I've never tried that cauliflower crust. I will say that I'm interested in trying the chicken crust. Hold on, I need a drink. It's really interesting to me to see the chicken crust make its rounds again, because I have been low carbing since 2008, I think. And it's really funny to see all of those recipes that like just kind of come out, and they were really, really popular back then, kind of make their rounds again as people have rediscovered them. So yeah, speaking of that, low carb being among friends is a really good forum that I used to be a part of. I'm still on there, but I don't go very often. But if you just need some support and etc. So there you go. Okay, number 7. You don't necessarily have to eat 3 meals a day. You don't have to. That's the thing I've learned in the last 3 months is I don't have to eat 3 meals a day. I don't have to get up and I don't have to eat breakfast unless I'm hungry. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions that we get from doctors or nutritionists or whatever. Oh, make sure you eat a balanced breakfast when you get up. You need that balanced breakfast of cereal with milk and orange juice and fruit and everything. I never really ate breakfast until I became diabetic, and I was under the impression that I had to eat breakfast to keep my blood sugar going and keep it level. But I don't have to do that. And I'm sure that babies are born with the ability to stop eating when they're full. That's something that they're born with. That's why, a breastfeeding baby will detach themselves when they're full. That's why you can only feed so much of a bottle to a baby. Like, you cannot overfeed a baby if they are telling you that they're not hungry. When we get to like 5, 6, 7, for some reason we start these clean your plate clubs, or you can't get up unless you've eaten everything on your plate and those kinds of things. And we start training our bodies to stop listening to our hunger receptors and to just take what it gets. And I've been, like I said, been overeating since I was probably kindergarten. I don't know what happened. That's a video for a different day, but something happened between 4 and 5, because at 4 I was a normal sized child. At 5, 6 I was really big. But I never stopped when I felt full, because I didn't really ever feel full. So I have really spent the last 3 months trying to learn to eat intuitively. So it's waiting during the day to eat until I feel physical hunger. When physical hunger manifests itself in my body, where my stomach is growling, I feel a little like, okay, it's time to eat, then I will eat. but that's not necessarily 3 meals a day. Sometimes it's 3 meals in a day. Sometimes it's not. I do intermittent fasting. I know I've mentioned that before and I get that question a lot, but I don't stick to any hard and fast rule that I can only eat within this window. If I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. It may not be a huge meal. It may be a serving of pepperoni and a cheese stick. It may be eggs and bacon. It just depends. But I'm not eating because it's not my window. And I'm not eating 3 meals a day just because that's what I've been taught. So we're down to the last 3. So the next one is number 8. The scale doesn't tell the whole story. And if I wasn't making these videos and sharing my weight with you guys, I probably wouldn't ever weigh again. That's not true. I probably wouldn't ever weigh unless I went to the doctor. Because while the weight on the scale is only saying 20 pounds, I know that I've lost more inches than that. I know that I've lost more weight than that. So I know that scale isn't telling the whole truth. Plus, I weighed yesterday, the day before, I don't remember. And I got on it and it said 405. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to grab my camera. Grab my phone to take a picture. I never got the same weight twice. So we changed out batteries, etc. So it could be that. It could be, we had a scale before that it was very, very picky and it had to be on a particular spot in our floor. And if you put it anywhere else, it wouldn't weigh you correctly. So don't be completely obsessed with the scale. I know that's easier said than done. I know. Most doctors believe that you have to be a certain weight and you have to have a certain BMI and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, again, it doesn't matter. I could be 125 pounds and have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, need a bypass surgery or something like that. So don't get caught up in the numbers. The numbers I worry about are my fasting blood sugar and what it is after I eat a meal and how much insulin I'm taking. Like I said, I am documenting my weight loss, the number for this channel, but I only lost 3 pounds in the last 2 weeks and I'm not going to fret about it because I know my body's swollen. Today I could have gone to the bathroom and I didn't yesterday. I mean, your body can fluctuate up to 10 pounds overnight. And so just don't drive yourself mad or get to a point where you're going to give up because the scale isn't telling you the whole story. I feel like I've been talking forever. Okay. I need another drink. I kind of touched on number 9 earlier. And it's the KISS method. Keep it simple, seriously. Keto doesn't have to be this huge change in your life as far as, special foods, those kinds of things. You don't have to buy psyllium husk powder and you don't have to buy, artificial sweetener or, erythritol or xylitol or whatever it is. You don't have to buy xanthan gum. You don't have to buy all those things. At the very core, keto is about getting more fat in your diet. So you think of it like carbs are a limit. 20 carbs a day. Some people say that even some people can go up to 50 carbs a day. You really have to play with that. So carbs is a limit. Protein is a goal. So in the way I do mine, I found my goal weight, which is 200. That's how many fat grams I'm going to get in a day. And then my protein is half of that, so that's 100. So I try to stick under 100 grams of protein today. That's my goal. Fat is a lever. And that means if you're still hungry after you've had some protein and you've had some carbohydrates, then add in some fat. But I'm not anywhere near 200 grams of fat a day because I don't need it. I eat when I'm hungry, etc. You don't have to make those crazy breads, or you don't have to bake sugar-free cheesecake or cookies or anything like that. If you want to, go right ahead, but you don't have to invest in all these expensive cooking ingredients, because at the base of it all, keto really is that you can eat some meat, some fat, and some fresh vegetables, frozen vegetables, whatever. But you eat low carb vegetables. You're staying away from grains, you're staying away from legumes, you're staying away from high carb vegetables. You're sticking with, dark leafy greens, broccoli, spinach, cauliflower if you like it cooked. If you're like me, I like it raw or pickled. Pickles, which are good for you. Focus on getting, eating that, making sure you're hitting your electrolytes for the day, that you're getting enough salt, potassium, and magnesium, those kinds of things. It doesn't have to be difficult. Keep it simple as much as that you can. You don't have to make bulletproof coffee. You don't have to make fat bombs. You don't have to do any of those things. You can if you want to. But, don't get started in this, doing the research or starting and you're like, I can't do this. It's just, and then every time I see someone go, well, what can I eat? I mean, there's a whole plethora of foods that you can eat. All different types of protein, all different types of vegetables. Don't get caught up in trying to replace what you were eating before. So you don't have to make zoodles to be a substitute for pasta, or spaghetti squash as a substitute for pasta. You don't have to make keto bread to make a sandwich. But if you feel that that's something that you want, then go right ahead. But at its simplest form, fruit, low carb fruits like berries, protein, and vegetables is really all you need. And last, but certainly not least, is you do you, boo. So I think I've mentioned it several times. This is your journey. This is my journey. These are the 10 things that have really popped in my brain over the last 3 months. And I know, especially with all my health issues going on, that I can only do what I can do. So when people are like, you're eating out too much, blah, 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 at the end of the day, I can only do what I can do. I can only do me. I can only do what I can do. You do you, boo. Do what works for you. Do what makes you feel better. If you are at a point in your journey where you can walk, or you can run, or you can lift weights or whatever, go right ahead. If you're at a place in your journey where you can cook every day of the week, please go right ahead. But and remember, comparison is the thief of joy. So don't start comparing your journey to someone else's, or try to compare it to other people's journeys, or say, oh, well, I do this, so you need me doing that too. Nah, honey. Nah. You mind your own. You do you. So I hope this was informative. I don't know. Again, I'm just some fat girl on the internet. But again, these are the 10 things that I've really brought my focus in to my journey and what's going on. And at the end of the day, I can only do what I can do. I can't worry about anybody else. I've gotten so many comments lately about how brave I am. I don't feel brave. I really don't. And I realize that there are a lot of people who wouldn't be able to be this size, say that number out loud, just for even their own people to, their own friends and family to see, let alone, strangers across the globe. But if that one person finds me who has similar symptoms, or is the same size, or that, then I want to share my journey. But at the end of the day, it's my journey. It's personal, it's mine, and you are welcome to leave your comments and your criticisms and everything else. If you leave a medical diagnosis, I'm going to delete it. But the rest of it, I have to do what I have to do for me. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me your list down below. You don't have to leave 10, but let me know if you're on keto or if you're on any other weight loss efforts. Let me know what you've learned or what's helped, how long you've been doing it, how you're doing, how I can be supportive or how anybody else can be supportive. So just try. That's all that matters, that you try. You wake up every morning, you try your best, and then you move on to the next day. So thanks, guys. I'll see you real soon. Bye for now.